Eaton Square is dark. These are not abandoned buildings. On a Tuesday night in 2024, 70% of the windows in London's most expensive residential square show no light because they are the world's most secure physical hard drives. If you stand on the pavement and look up at the heavy curtains and the silent porticos, you have to ask why the world's wealthiest people pay £50 million for a home they will never visit, choosing instead to let these multi-million-pound properties sit in total silence while the city pulses around them. It is a ghost town for billionaires. They buy the address, not the life. Every window represents a silent ledger. It is the ultimate trophy. It is a bank account you can see from the street. 7 districts, all of them legal. We open everyone. London isn't just a city anymore. It is a global vault. You have heard of gold bars in Switzerland or free ports in Singapore, but those are for people who want to hide things. London is for people who want to store things in plain sight. These houses are assets that happen to have bedrooms. It's not about the view. It is about the sovereignty. When you buy here, you are not buying a home. You're buying a piece of the British legal system. You are buying the right to park capital in a place that will not disappear if a government falls elsewhere. These aren't dwellings. They are safe deposit boxes made of limestone and white paint. A mansion is not a home. It's a gold bar with a front door. But the scale of this isn't limited to one square. 20,000 empty homes. That's the number from the UK Land Registry for long-term vacant properties in the city. This is the buy-to-leave phenomenon. It sounds like a bad investment. You buy a house and you do not rent it out. You lose the yield. But you have to understand who the buyers are. If you are a billionaire from a volatile economy, the rent is a rounding error. What you want is liquidity, or rather the opposite of liquidity. You want a hard asset that won't move. If you have tenants, you have problems. You have wear and tear. You have legal rights for residents, so you keep it empty. You pay a concierge to flush the toilets once a week so the pipes do not dry out. It is more efficient to own an empty box than a functioning building. A tenant isn't a customer. They're a liability that lowers the resale value. But how do you get the money into the country to buy them in the first place? 2008 to 2022. For 14 years, the UK offered something called the Tier 1 Investor Visa. It was simple. You bring £2 million, you get a residency permit. It did not matter where the money came from. The British government called it high-value migration. Others called it a laundromat. Over 12,000 people took the deal. Most of them bought property in the same 3 postcodes. This created a floor for the market. It meant that even if the global economy dipped, London property would stay high because there was a constant stream of new capital seeking a visa. The government eventually ended the program after security concerns, but the infrastructure it built is permanent. The money is already in the bricks. A visa is not a permission slip. It's a receipt for a £2 million transaction. The visa program ended, but the towers it funded are still rising. 2,000 units. That's the scale of Nine Elms, a forest of glass towers on the south bank of the Thames. This is the Glass Fortress. It features a pool suspended between 2 buildings, 10 stories in the air. It is called the Sky Pool. It's a marketing gimmick for the brochures sent to Hong Kong, Dubai, and Moscow. These flats are not sold to Londoners. They're sold at roadshows in 5-star hotels thousands of miles away. Often, they are sold before the ground is even broken. The buyers do not care about the local schools or the nearest grocery store. They care that the building has 24-hour security and a basement that can store a car collection. It's a vertical gated community. If you walk through Nine Elms at night, it feels like a movie set after the crew has gone home. There is no noise, no laundry on balconies, no life. High-end real estate is not for living. It's a physical hedge against inflation. But if you can't build any more glass towers, you have to find space somewhere else. If you can't build up, you build down. Kensington and Chelsea. This is where the basement digging wars began. In this neighborhood, you cannot build higher because of heritage laws. So, the billionaires started digging. They built what the press calls iceberg homes. On the surface, it's a standard Victorian terrace. Underground, it is a 6-story complex with cinemas, car elevators, and private spas. Between 2008 and 2017, over 4,000 basements were approved in these two boroughs alone. We're talking about millions of pounds of concrete buried under the soil. This is not because they need more room to sleep. It is because every square foot of space increases the asset's value. You're turning a 5 million pound house into a 50 million pound house by hollowing out the earth. The noise for the neighbors is constant. The risk of the street collapsing is real, but the owners do not hear the drills. They are not there. So the footprint is fixed on the map, except for what's underneath. An iceberg home is not a luxury. It's a way to maximize the storage capacity of a single plot of land. But why does the government allow a 50 million pound asset to pay less tax than a family car? The Band H loophole. This is the secret math. In London, council tax is based on what the property was worth in 1991. Not today, 1991. The highest bracket is called Band H. If you own a mansion on Eaton Square worth 100 million pounds, you might pay 3,000 pounds a year in council tax. If you own a modest two-bedroom flat in a working-class borough worth 500,000 pounds, you might pay 2,000 pounds. The Billionaire's tax rate is functionally zero. It's a regressive system that rewards wealth storage. The city needs the capital, so it does not ask questions. It doesn't update the valuations. It just lets the ghosts stay in their dark rooms. This disparity is what keeps the system stable for the elite. A tax is not a contribution. It's a fee you pay to keep the lights off. The same trick works for entire neighborhoods. The Bishop's Avenue. They call it Billionaire's Row. It's a long, leafy street in North London with 66 mansions. On paper, it is one of the wealthiest streets on the planet. In reality, it's a graveyard for cash. Some of these houses have not been lived in for 30 years. They are rotting. There are trees growing through the roofs of 50 million pound estates. The UK Land Registry shows many are owned by offshore companies in Jersey or the Bahamas. The owners don't care about the mold or the damp. The land itself is the value. The house is just a placeholder. As long as the land is in London, the wealth is safe. We're watching the death of the neighborhood. When nobody lives on a street, the local shops close. The pubs vanish. The community hollows out until there is nothing left but high walls and security cameras. Remember the 66 mansions? They are not ruins. They're active ledger entries in a global accounting system. A city is not a place for people. It is a ledger where we all happen to live. London isn't a home. It's a border that never closes.